Hello, I'm Philoine Freed. And the way it started was the fact that my parents, who were union people, my father was the president of a union, and my mother was a union organizer, and they never kept us away from their life. We were always part of what was going on in the family. That meant in the unions. We knew what they were doing. We knew where they were. My father was out and visiting various locals all the time. My mother was organizing. And we knew this, but they were always home for the weekend. And on the weekend, there were always a lot of people coming to visit them. And we were always part of the family. We were never kept aside. I used to say that I was born with a trade union spoon in my mouth. I'd had a job, a plain ordinary job, and then I got married. That part of my life was with the children. As I said, there was a center there where the kids would go to play, and I volunteered to help at that center.
Okay.
That's all. I got involved with the Jewish Labor Committee. I went to work for them, and I was in charge with all the papers. I was in charge with the files. I took care of all of the papers that came in.
Huh.
That was my job at the Jewish Labor Committee, all the years that I worked there.
How many years do you think?
It was about 30.
It's a pretty long stretch.
Yeah, And at the same time, I was volunteering at the Jewish Museum for the same amount of time, also as a volunteer. Although, at the Jewish Museum, I did one thing that was very important. There were papers, files, things scattered all over the place. And so I started picking up all these pieces of paper all over the place and putting them together. And when I had the whole thing done, I discovered that what I had done was to put together the very first, it was the first exhibit that they had at the museum. It turned out all these papers were that I put together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was an accomplishment. And I was very excited because I was dealing with original materials. Everything in my hand was an original piece of paper.
Huh.
And so it was a very exciting piece of work to do.
Great.
And I did that, and that turned out to be the first exhibit at the museum. That piece,
Right.
in that box.
Do you remember when the Labor History Association was starting? Were you always the treasurer?
I was treasurer, what do you call it? Interim. interim for 10 years.
That's funny.
Until I found Peter.
Is there any more advice you have to give to young women who are trying to improve the world?
Well, my goodness. I think that they have to know what it is they want to do. I think they have to know where they want to go. I think they have to know a sense of their own abilities, of their own independence. I think they have to know what they want to do to make a career, if they have an idea. They have to talk to themselves.